Fantasy managers, hello and welcome back to the FPL Addicts FPL show for the 2021 and 2022 season, powered by Esports Live and sponsored by Bonus Bank. If you love FPL and you're enjoying our content, then make sure you give our video a like, as well as subscribe down below and turn the notification bell on as well while you're down there. And if you're listening on Apple, please do leave us a review, as it really does help spread the word. But today we've got the usual suspects, minus the Guru, who's out celebrating his birthday. So happy birthday to you, Matt. You know, we all appreciate all that you do for us most of the time with your Guru section and all the picks that you tell us to get. So I hope you have a really good evening, mate. But Ollie, you are my right-hand man for today. So how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, as always, mate, absolutely buzzing. I actually had a really good FPL week this week, so this is a podcast I'm actually excited for. No, I'm excited for them all as always, but it's always nice to come in off the back of a good FPL week. Green arrows, and it's great to see all the lads again, so I can't wait.
Absolutely is, and we'll get right on into it. We'll review the fixtures from the previous game week. So Statman Dave, we'll start with you. Was there a fixture that really stood out to you?
I think the one that probably surprised me the most was probably Norwich and Brighton. I certainly, you guys gave me a bit of stick in there just before we got on the pod about that one. But I think everyone kind of expects Norwich to sort of get pumped every week at the moment. And, they haven't scored in a few weeks. So you would have thought that Brighton would have been able to at least sneak one or two past them. But, so, that was the one that probably stuck out for me. It seemed like a bit of a keeper fest. I know both keepers certainly scored pretty well in the bonus points side of things. And, so that was probably the one that surprised me the most.
Yeah, and I think you'll find Statman Dave is the only human being on the planet that's willing to talk about Norwich Brighton as a 0-0. But as he says there, a lot of people expected for Brighton to show up at Norwich and, turn them over, get 3 points, leave, be on their merry way like most teams. But Norwich have picked up 2 points now in 2 games, Burnley and Brighton. So maybe this is the rise of Norwich, and they'll slowly creep up the table, getting their 0-0 draws every single week. But Ollie, we'll move on to you. Was there another game that to you really stood out to you? You had a lot of assets from, or there was a lot of FPL points from?
I'm on the Vardy party, lads. I'm on the Vardy party. Leicester and Manchester United. What a mental game of football. I mean, I was too busy watching Rovers lose another 2-0 lead, so I actually wasn't watching the game. But mental game of football. You think Man United get back into it with a goal, and then Jamie Vardy just rips the hearts out again, making it 3-2 with a top finish. Good to see Rashford back. Obviously played a closed doors game against us rather, and did all right. But glad to see him back in the Premier League. Jamie Vardy, you all gave me stick last week, so have it. To keep it PC, PG. What does he say? Chat blank. So that's what you get. That's what you get. You can all make sure that you can infer what I'm about to say, but I'm not going to say it. But I'm happy with the Vardy return. You all gave me stick, and it's blown up in your face. That's been class. And nice to see Man United lose as always. So there you go.
Just
wow, Ollie Walker-Peel. He's Listen, I think we weren't giving you a stick about Vardy coming in. It's just the fact you got rid of Lukaku, but it wasn't. Come on, it wasn't a great decision, but it was a good decision as well. It's a bit of stroke of genius at a point.
Good for 1 week, it might be too premature. We could see Lukaku these next couple of game weeks, Jack, go on his merry way and be the flat trap bully as the Guru always calls him, and Vardy could blank in the next couple of weeks. So that could always happen, couldn't it?
It could do. I hope he doesn't, because he's in my team. I've got both of them.
Rent free.
We'll just have to see how that one goes. But Jack, because you're unmuted now, I'll give you the honour of picking the third game of the week that really caught your interest, and Ollie saved you the disappointment of having to talk about Man United. So the pick is yours.
Yeah, he did save me from that, didn't he? But I've got to talk about more disappointment. I've got to talk about this one, like the Newcastle Spurs game. It's more about Son and his COVID issue that I was absolutely spewing about. I'm a massive fan of Son. Obviously, he saved me in game week 7 when I put the armband on him, hyped him up for my wild card, and I thought, going into this Spurs game, he's going to smash it. Got that COVID shout, got COVID scare. I bottled it with him on my deadline for my wild card. Changed it, and this game turned into a bit of a thriller. I'm sure you've got some feedback about this game, but obviously goals galore, came back, Son scoring. Newcastle, what a start they had. They thought they'd won the league in the first 2 minutes, didn't they? They've been taken over, and then they're going to take over the world, win everything. Callum Wilson, and then obviously that soon got stolen, and Ndombele scored that absolute belter of a goal. Son and Kane finished them off. But yeah, listen, bit of a thrill that game. What was your thoughts on that, El?
Yeah, look, as you said, it was all looking up for the good 2 minutes. It was a brilliant 2 minutes of football as well. But, it's always a thing with Newcastle. I almost don't want them to score early because, they just invite the pressure on after that. And that's exactly what we did for Spurs and everything. So, as you said, end on Bele. Harry Kane scored a goal. We all knew it was going to happen. He's not back or anything. All right. I don't want to hear that from anyone. He's not back. It's Newcastle. It's Harry Kane.
He's got to be back. He's got to be back. Yeah,
he always scores against us. There's always a team that you just love playing. And for Harry Kane, it's Newcastle. It was Newcastle for Aguero as well. There's too many that it's just us for. But maybe this is the beginning. Start of Harry Kane's goal scoring record this season. It's his first Premier League goal of the season, Jack, which is just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
It's crazy. Obviously, he's been firing. He's scored a couple for England, didn't he? And then he scored a couple in the Europa Conference League in that that terrible competition. However, he's been scoring there, but not in the Premier League. Hasn't done it. But I think this is the start of things. Newcastle's a great way to get off up and running. Right. It's still early days in the season, so yeah, looking forward to seeing a lot more of him. But yeah, excited to see what he does. But unfortunate for Newcastle, mind you, Harry Kane could be at Newcastle in January, right?
Yeah, splash out, 100, 150 odd million for him. We'll be on our merry way, and he can warm the bench behind Joel Linton because we'll just see how that one goes. But don't know if the Guru will be best pleased with that one, but I do know that he was very pleased with the result, and good 3 points from Spurs in what was quite a hostile atmosphere for them, I'm very sure. So, as I said, Harry Kane could be back on form. He's definitely one to watch out for, and just to keep your eye on it. But Reedy, I will let you go with the fourth game. There's only 5 of us here tonight, so we might as well. Don't want to exclude you. I know you're sitting there. You got your stats ready. You got everything ready. So, was there a game for you that really stood out?
Thanks, Al. Appreciate you including me, mate. I feel good now. Fourth game. So what have we had so far, boys? I think it was Leicester United, Norwich Brighton, Spurs Newcastle.
Good to know that you're listening, Reedy.
I am. Listen, boys, there's a lot to cover here. Give me a chance, yeah. I'll go for the Villa Wolves game, just because incredible really that Villa was sitting pretty, 80 minutes gone, and they were 2-0 up, and what a turnaround by Wolves, really, and some luck was to be had by Wolves. Don't get me wrong, that third goal, Ruben Neves with a poor free kick, deflection gone in, but they do not care. They went absolutely chicken oriental, and it was a 3-2 from the Wolves. So I go for that one really. I don't think there was much in terms of the game, like exciting going on and all the rest of it, but what an ending in the last 10 minutes.
As you heard there from Reedy, chicken oriental is, I think, the thing to take away from that analysis there. So as long as you got that really is all you need. But they were the results of the week, we'll call it. We'll move on into the mini league reviews now, and it's no surprise to see that Donau remains top of the paid league, and it also wins the Game Week 7 Manager of the Week award. He was level with 3 other managers on 60 points, but it went to the playoff, and he absolutely smashed it. So congratulations to you, Donau, and the Game Week 8 Manager of the Week goes to Farbod Nazari of Bodsman, who holds 73 points with his wildcard team this week. And, Jack, where was your Manager of the Week this week? You played your wildcard. Are you disappointed to see, a fellow wildcarder take it away from you?
Yeah, of course I'm disappointed. It turned out to be a tough week to play the wildcard, didn't it? There were so many last minute decisions to be making. Rudiger, ? Lukaku, ? Son, ? So it was tough to navigate, but he's gone and done it and smashed it. So I've got no excuses really. So fair play to him.
You say you've got no excuses. You've just rattled off 5. You've been Statman Daved. That's the thing. He's still been dazzled from being Statman Daved. Been outscored by the big Statman. So he's rattled as is Jackie G. So
I don't know, because I think I doubled Statman's wildcard score.
Let him have. Can I just go to bat for Statman Dave while we're here? Just let him have this week, lads.
I think he's going to get his moment. He's going to get his moment in a minute. Elliot's going to make a song and dance out of him.
Absolutely, and as we said, we will get on to our teams in just a minute. But just to reiterate, there, that was the two managers of the week for game week 7 and game week 8, and obviously they do both get the 20 Aussie dollar prize. But to everyone listening, and I know there's quite a few out there listening along live, and let us know how you went this week. We're all really interested. How many points did you end up hauling and all that? And we obviously thank you for all the support. But the paid league, as we always say every single week, it's shaping up. It's looking every single definition of competitive every single week, and it only gets better. Billy remains top of the free mini. He's just 19 points shy of the 600 point mark, which is ridiculous. What a start to the season he's had. We got Max in second, and Donau has dropped in the free league as well, so that really just shows you how competitive this free mini is as well. He sits there in third place in the free mini. We'll move on to the women's mini now, and I don't even know how to pronounce that name at the top. I'm going to give it a go. Isha. I think it's Pratisha. Pratisha? Okay, so I didn't butcher it too bad then. I do apologise if I ever butcher any of your names. As we said, the FPL points speak louder than the name there. I think 554 points there. Maya has dropped off. She's been top of the league for a couple of weeks now, so she's finally been knocked off the throne there, and she sits there in joint second with Karen Spence. And then the fun league, as I like to call it, the head-to-head league, the bonus bank, the FPL Addicts head-to-head league, Donau also sits at the top, which is no surprise. He's 3 points clear, and we always talk about it. Pizza Boy sits there. He's in third, well, joint second, I'd like to call it, if it wasn't for goal difference. Tom Stones is there, and Aaron is also there in second. And boys, I'm just gonna keep scrolling down, and I'll probably eventually find you lot. So I'll just keep going. Ah, there we are. Reedy.
We're all nestled next to each other.
Reedy, so you're the top out of everyone that's not me. So sitting in 16th there. Are you happy with that?
I can't complain, can I? I'm moving up slowly. I'm getting there. Got some nice fixtures coming up. I beat the average, It's looking good for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got Matt right behind me there, and I've also got Ollie right behind me. So it's there's not much of a gap between me and the other guys. And you're doing well for yourself, 18 points. But I think us boys will be a bit closer than that come the next couple of game weeks or so. So watch your back, El.
I just can't believe the Guru's, sitting there all the way down in 17th. He's doing worse than you, Reedy. And, there's obviously not a massive gap between your points, but obviously, as you said, we'll start to see that separate just a little bit in the season. But, FPL Rubber Ducky says he got 60 points, up 57 places, and just under 7K rank overall. That's absolutely ridiculous. Ollie's top 7K in the world. How insane is that?
Can I just say what an absolute king FPL Rubber Ducky is, by the way? He's an absolute legend of a guy. And, he comes on all these spaces on Twitter and he just keeps talking about FPL, how good he is at the game. And it's class to see. He said it was his smallest green arrow. In fact, he said it was the biggest green arrow he's ever had, just to take the mick. But to say you're up 57 places, that's still not bad if you're 7K overall rank. Top effort. And it's great to see that there's a good FPL creator doing well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, Ollie, and Rory, your mate as well, says he's got a cheeky 70 points this week, which is ridiculous, for how it was. He says, man like Chilwell doing Salah things for me. And, he's looking a great asset at the minute, isn't he, Statman Dave? A lot of people, 2 goals in 2 weeks for Chilwell. A lot of people are going to be considering getting him in.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an interesting one to consider. Chelsea are obviously going to be rotating a few people at the moment. So be interesting to see how he sort of fits in with obviously Alonso and Christensen and all those guys. So, yeah, it's risky, but it could work.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack, I do have to bring this one up. Ozspike says, you obviously with the 62 this week, he got the 63. How does that one make you feel?
He played his wild card as well. So, yeah, literally 1 point. I saw his team he posted on Twitter and it was pretty similar to mine. But, yeah, just 1 or 2 difference. I can't remember who it was now. It was different. But, yeah, he couldn't wait to get that one in. I think he's tuning in especially. He's still in Brighton now. He's on his way back to Australia soon, I think. But he's had a good run. I think he's their lucky charm for this year and he's pulled out a win there.
He absolutely has, mate. And as you say, maybe he was copying you. Maybe he was listening to too much of the Guru's good advice there, and he's just edged you by 1 point. And then Ollie, Daniel Capillaro, your watch-along buddy from the weekend, 56 points this week. How are the St. Maximins? 56 points in this week it's another good score, isn't it?
It is, and speaking of watch-alongs, missed having you there, mate. Would have been nice to have the 3 of us back, but it is what it is. Dan the top man, and again he's had a decent week. Like he's got Saint Maximin again, who's his Razzler, his man. If the Guru's got Harry Kane, Mr. D10's got Saint Maximin. But decent week, got a platform for himself to build off now. So we'll have to see if he can.
Yeah, absolutely, and we won't keep you waiting any longer. This illicit, Statman Dave week from heaven. We'll get onto it now. And Dave, we'll start with you. We'll give you actually, you know what? We'll build it up, and we'll go Statman Dave last. We'll go in order of points from this week. So we will start. Well, the Guru's not even here, and you probably have to, watch his team selection. Yeah, well, you'll have to watch his team selection to see how the Guru went as well. So we will start with me, which is quite demoralising, considering I was 10 points above the average with 59. Robert Sanchez, obviously, with the clean sheet, doesn't really affect anyone if he keeps a clean sheet or he doesn't, because he's got such high ownership. The defence did really well for me this week. Manquillo, despite being probably the worst player on the pitch, in my opinion, from the game, did manage to get himself an assist. He was definitely at fault for 2 of the goals. He played them onside twice, which I was absolutely livid with. But in terms of FPL, if you're going to concede 3, if he's going to get an assist, then I'll definitely take that. Trent with a clean sheet. Livramento came off my bench because I didn't start him. He also got a clean sheet for me. Salah as a captain. Just that's all you needed to do this week, I think, to get above the average, was make sure that the armband was on Mohamed Salah, and you seemed to go pretty well. But other than that, it was really nothing doing. I started Brandon Williams and Rafinha, and Douglas Luiz and Livramento obviously got subbed on. And as I said, that's how I got 59 points in this game week. But we'll move on to the second highest points this week, and it is you, Jackie G. You played your wild card, 62 points. It's a very good score. You've got to be happy with that. As the Guru always says, you don't play your wild card just for 1 week. So to get 62 points, well above the average, looking good for the future, you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a bit hectic. I think I made three-year transfers within about 2 minutes of deadline with the Son issue, just to try and work out the team. So yeah, it was crazy, but I was pretty happy with the team. Ended up with this great formation of 5-2-3, which obviously every manager plays. But yeah, Aspi did really good. He came in last minute and he got me the 6 points. The Diaz and Grealish moves that I brought in as well absolutely threw the points away for me. Grealish on my bench with 0, didn't play because he was getting rested for this morning's games in Champions League, which also he didn't hit again. But yeah, Diaz came in. That's got to be one of his lowest point hauls this season, 1 point in there. So yeah, pretty disappointed. The Arsenal Crystal Palace game was obviously crazy with 2-2. So my double up on Arsenal didn't work out. But elsewhere on the pitch, obviously Salah, like you mentioned, absolutely delivered. And Vardy, I did say to Reedy, he's a big Vardy fan, and I said to him he's probably going to run right against United. With Maguire on absolute horrendous form, it was horrendous. It was so bad. He was involved in I think 3 of the goals, maybe even 4. So yeah, Vardy tore him apart, and he got the goal. Hwang, obviously, he was quiet. And Lukaku again blanked. So I think the fraud watches out for him, aren't they, for next week against Norwich? So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Mbeumo being part of my team this, going into it. So he's got a good run of fixtures. Looks really lively. He's been smashing the post, hasn't he? So if he moves a bit closer to that goal, happy days. And Livramento with the 6 points, which was delighted. Livramento and Southampton asset owners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the main talking point of this week for me was, the cycling GK Jack commenting on our podcast last week, letting himself know, saying hello, telling us that we should have triple captained him or captained him, I think it was. And then he goes and concedes 5 to Liverpool. Is he trying to sabotage us?
Oh, you think so, wouldn't he? Obviously, I know I threw a pelter at him last week when he came on. And said obviously Salah was going to get a hat trick. Little did we know, Firmino stepped up and bagged a hat trick out of nowhere. I know he gets a lot of he gets a lot of rubbish, Firmino thrown at him, but he obviously killed it. And yeah, Ben Foster, fraud squats out for you as well, mate. I think I might have to bring in someone else at 4 mil because you definitely ain't going in my team again.
And I think the more important thing, Ollie, and I know I spoke to you about this, but I want to get so you can publicly share your view. Ben Foster, the Watford goalkeeper, captained Mohamed Salah for his FPL team this game week.
It just baffles me. I mean, obviously, I'll never be a Premier League player, obviously. But I think if I was a Premier League player, I'd almost be benching Mohamed Salah. I'd be benching him because you'd rather do well for your actual team, surely. And you should have seen his comment on his vlog, like saying, "Oh, the main man Salah scored," or like, "What a player!"
What a legend!
You play for Watford. You're a footballer before you're a YouTuber. And Ben Foster's brilliant, right? But he needs. I can see why Watford fans are a bit angry with him. I really can see it.
Did he end up deleting that vlog? Did he delete it?
I think he changed.
I think I
he
saw
changed the
something today,
caption.
no?
I think he changed the caption. Yeah, he might have deleted it or changed the caption or something. But anyway, it's just if he played for Rovers and he were doing that, I'd be livid. So
if you're playing for Rovers, then you might be in the Premier League by now, mate. But obviously he's not, so that's how it is. But he captained him this week. He clearly didn't back himself. I think that's the main thing for me as a goalkeeper. You don't back yourself in at that point if he captained him Mohamed Salah, or maybe he just really doesn't trust his defence. But as you said, Ollie, just as if you were a Watford fan, you definitely wouldn't be happy with that at all, would you?
No, to captain him, it's disgraceful. It's the disrespect you put into your own team, and maybe not. He might not have thought he was starting. He might have thought that Daniel Backman was starting. Imagine the message that sends out to Daniel Backman, who's probably the number one at Watford. Imagine saying, "Oh yeah, I don't trust you to keep a clean sheet." It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have foretold that, even as much as Salah was captained by everyone. If you're playing against him, you don't captain him. Surely not.
I just think that's common sense at the minute. But obviously, he needed the FPL points, I think, to shoot him up his mini leagues. Anything that you can do. You must have seen that Danny Rose was playing on Mohamed Salah, and he thought he is going to have an absolute field day against my Watford. Or, it's just how it goes, and he did that. But I think FPL Rubber Ducky makes a very fair point. And Reedy, I want to get your view on this as well as the UK correspondent. He says, I can see the Premier League players being told not to play the game by their clubs and the Premier League. And, we already had that debacle last year with Grealish where, some people told him that he wasn't going to be playing and stuff like that. And they got him out of their teams and all that sort of stuff. So, do you agree with that? Do you think there is going to be a point where clubs are saying to their players, you can't be playing fantasy Premier League?
Possibly. I don't think from my opinion, I don't think it's that much of a huge issue. Ollie there is going to be the next social media sort of control over the players at Watford, and he's going to be getting the call saying, "Listen, get yourself in. You sound like you've got the discipline going on this FPL." But no, in all seriousness, I don't think there's any harm, because let's be honest, if you have any common sense, and yeah, again, it comes down to the fact it's a game. Like, he is not going to go into that game thinking, I'm going to let 5 goals in. He's going to captain him, which everyone would, and he's going to go into that game. Look at a couple of saves he pulled off. You know what I mean? Those saves say it all. Like, a couple of them saves were brilliant. And I think that you've got to not accept that Salah's going to score or you're going to get beat. But if the inevitable is going to happen, then it's going to happen. And I don't think you look at the likes of Bamford, who plays FPL. There's various other Premier League players.
Was it Grealish last year got done for it?
Yeah, so it was the injury thing. Yeah, he got injured.
Oh,
and
that got leaked.
A couple of the coaches took him out, and everyone was going, "What? Why would you take Grealish out?" Because they had a really good fixture. And then everyone was like, "Oh, Grealish has got to be injured then if they've taken him out." I think that's what happened.
I don't think it's got to come down to the point where, like, players are getting banned from playing the game. Like I say, like Rubber Ducky's pointed out there, it could happen. It could be something that happens. But I just don't see it, because at the end of the day, Ben Foster, he didn't start out well for his FPL for the season, all the rest of it. Mohamed Salah has just tore up City there and scored that absolute brilliant goal, and then he's gone and done it against Watford again. You cannot deny class. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And like I say, I don't see a massive issue with it, but it's an opinion at the end of the day, and I can see why other people might look at it from the other angle. So yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of class, Reedy, 65 points this week, 16 points above the average. So take us through your team, mate.
Cheers, El. Yeah, good week. Brighton clean sheet. We love to see that, especially when I've got the double up. I've had that thing since the beginning of the game week 1 when I selected my team, I think. So I've kept faith in that more than anything else in my team, which is crazy, really. But yeah, Dunk, I'd like to give him a lot of praise, because you look at Brighton, you look at his scores over the last maybe season or two in FPL, and he's done brilliantly. He's a threat from set pieces. He likes obviously getting involved off corners, trying to score and things like that. And yeah, so I was happy about that. And you look at Brighton, I think it's 50% of their games, of the 8 games now, they kept the clean sheet. So it's looking good. Ben White robbed of an assist. I don't know if you have seen that one with the Palace game. Brilliant shot. And it's come off Martinelli. So I lost out on the points on that one, which was unfortunate. Mahrez brought him in. Foden brought him in. I'll explain that very quickly because going on to Salah, absolute brilliance. No more to say about him. Just got to be captained every game week, apart from possibly this one, which we know why. And then, yeah, Jamie Vardy just had a laugh at United, didn't he, and said, sorry, Harry, it's not your day, mate. But yeah, going on to in regards to my score that could have been better. Jack will know this because we went back and forth about this, especially with him having the wild card. I took an 8-point hit again, boys. Yeah, you're going to laugh at me. I know you'll laugh at me. And it's a silly decision, rightly so. You should laugh at me. But yeah, I brought in, I took Fernandes out. I was going to do the Fernandes to KDB, which I mentioned in last week's pod. Couldn't do it because I had the 0.1 million short because of the price rise. So it left me in a bit of a pickle on what to do. So I decided to bring Foden in and Son in. And then, all that amazing news on Twitter that two Spurs players had COVID just threw a massive thing, into it. So I was like that, umming and ahhing what to do it, keep Son in. And probably about 2 minutes to go on it, Jack. We were talking and we were like, right, you know what? We haven't seen any news. He's got to have COVID, this, that, and the other. Took him out, took the hit, and brought in Mahrez.
You went Mahrez now, and Grealish.
You just can't do it, can you? It's just horrible. And then Son plays on the Sunday. That was the worst.
And scores.
And yeah, it's a bad thing. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, 65, especially I've got the same score again as last week, taking an 8-point hit. It's not great in terms of my ranking. It's affecting that. So I really do need to tighten that up now and stop making silly decisions, albeit it's down to COVID and, all this blah, 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 all this stuff going on, when you read reports and see news. So I'm happy. I am pleased that I got 65. It's a solid score, mate.
It's a very, very solid score, and you just got to stop taking those hits, really. And it's unlucky with the Son thing. I'm pretty sure everyone and their dog thought that he was definitely going to be out with COVID. I was definitely surprised to see that he started. So yeah, that was a little bit of a surprising one. But Ollie, we'll move on to your team. 66 points this week. You don't have any, you're not hiding any 8-point hits or anything, are you? That's going to elude that score a little bit.
No, I'm not hiding any 8-point hits. I was looking during the week because I thought I was on for Manager of the Week, so I was looking at where everyone was at, and I saw 65 points. And
He was already celebrating. Manager of the Week.
I thought I was a shout. I wasn't celebrating, but I was like, I thought I might be a shout. So I was looking at FPL Live or FPL Game Week, whatever it's called, and I was like looking, where's Reedy? And I said, he's the hitman. He's back with another hit. But congratulations to was it Donnell who got it this week, or whoever it was? Anyway, congratulations to whoever it was. Anyway, I've missed out, but I've had a good week. I'm happy with it. Salah, everyone and their nan captain Salah, so that was fine. that settled that out, which was all good. Jamie Vardy, as I've said, he was my one main transfer. I was happy with that and how that worked out. So buzzing with his 8 points. Defense, clean sheets all round. So that was brilliant. Obviously, the double with Brighton is going to be tough this week with Man City. Livramento as well, and obviously Trent against Watford. So that was nice. James MacArthur.
How was he not sent off?
Don't know how he's not got a red card. But I said on another podcast I was on last night, and I just said, mate, I'm just going to look at him every time now and just say, mate, you've done your job. You've got me my 1 point. You can sit on the bench for the rest of the season because I'm not going to be requiring his services ever again if things go well. But 270k Green Arrow, absolutely buzzing. And I'm back.
He's back, apparently, ladies and gentlemen. He's had one good week and he's back on his high horse and he's back up firing up the mini leagues. But as we say, Ollie, 66 points is absolutely brilliant this week. But, unfortunately, no one cares about any scores this week other than Statman Dave with the big 68-pointer this week. Dave, you're finally back. That's a massive score, well above the average. Take us through your team.
Yeah, everything's coming up Statman this week. I haven't seen many green arrows for a while, so it's good to see them. But hopefully it's not just a 1 week wonder thing, but it quite possibly might be. But yeah, something that's been missing from my team for a while is clean sheets. And I think I had 5 defenders play and they all either had clean sheets or attacking returns. So that's pretty much where the majority of the points have come, along with Salah being captain. So the not much love from the rest of the team in the forward half, but the rest did enough to carry the rest through. And I'll have Rafinha coming back this week, so hopefully he'll add a few more points as well to be able to keep those green arrows coming, I suppose. And quite a few of them have got some decent fixtures this week too. So hopefully it's not just a 1 week thing.
Yeah, and it just shows that, man, Dave. Jack was playing a 5 at the back. It is viable because you've had a really good week this week. Your defenders have all hit, and as you go further up the pitch, the only one that's really hit is Salah. So people can play a 5 at the back and still do well in FPL, can't they?
Yeah, look, I didn't actually plan to play 5 at the back. I did bring in Rafinha this week.
You're not meant to say that.
Go with it, Dave. Come on.
Creswell did come in, so he was a pretty handy inclusion for Rafinha with him. But that was kind of expected. Like I did pick Rafinha, sort of knowing that he probably wasn't going to play and that Creswell was going to come in. So, I'm not surprised that in the end it was going to be 5 at the back, but it was sort of half planned, half not.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully planned, as Statman Dave's just said there. It was an absolute Statman Dave masterclass, and he is back in terms of FPL. But that's our scores for the previous game week. We'll move on to the fixtures for game week. I want to say it's game week 9 next week, isn't it, lads? I'm losing track now. 8 games. That's right. 8 games, no wins for Newcastle. That's the stats all over Twitter. So it's game week 9. There's a lot of brilliant fixtures, just from looking at it here. Jack, we'll start with you. Is there a fixture that really pops out to you?
Listen, we know this is going to be a tasty one. It's going to be a good bit of banter with me and Reedy. Obviously, Man United versus Liverpool. It's the Neville versus Carragher. I think I'm keen to see what happens in this game. Obviously, for being a Man United fan, but from an FPL perspective, oh God, do I captain Salah? Is that how it works? I feel like United are going to win. I think this is just going to be a total random result. We don't deserve to, and we're just going to pull out a 1-0 win or something like that. What do you reckon, Reedy?
Well, first thing to say is, does Ronaldo get in the Liverpool team? No.
That was brilliant.
Oh, do you know what I mean?
The eyes from Neville was epic.
It was the silence that got it for me. That was brilliant.
Oh, I tell you what. Gary Neville's not having a great time, is he? But it's a mouth-watering game, as that fixture's been over the last few years. There's normally a few big tackles going in, and we have had the flip side of that where it's had the 0-0s and it's let us down a bit. But at this moment in time, it's the best time for Liverpool to play United, and it's the worst time for United to play Liverpool. Salah's on fire. Pogba, I don't know, he's head somewhere else, don't know where, but
probably the barber.
The rest of the team.
Thinking about his next colour, Taribo West style. But yeah, basically, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good game because I think United will have to turn up, depending on what happens with United this week in the Champions League. Ollie might not even be there, but I think he will. I think it will. But that could be the nail in his coffin. It's a great game to build up for the week, and I am looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely, as you should be. And Ollie, we've got a question, obviously, as the tribal man yourself, and what you were saying about Ben Foster before. D10 says, can Jack captain Salah as a United fan? Question for you, Ollie.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of Jack, so I can say Jack can do whatever he wants because it's his team. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't.
Maybe not jinx Mohamed Salah, captain him, and masterclass.
Again, if it's like, I'm going to bring it back to, but if it was Burnley and Rovers in the Premier League, which it won't be for a long while, but if it was
would you put it on Chris Wood?
If it was Chris Wood who scored 6 in 6 and had an away game at Ewood, 1, I wouldn't have him in my team, and 2, I wouldn't captain him. So Jack, of course, can captain Salah if he's that way inclined, but I wouldn't be doing that myself.
So are you suggesting drop him as well?
Yeah, put him on your bench.
Hey, look. It's your team. It's your team. I'm gonna do a Reedy here. I'm gonna do a Reedy. It's your team. I'm leaving this up to you.
Is that fence big enough for the both of you?
It is. Hey, I'll be a fence. It's your team, mate. You've got to catch up. So
but what's the reason you wouldn't captain Salah? You can't just go, or I don't know. It's over to Jack. What's the reason?
Yeah, I'm a bit indecisive about that one. I'm sorry. But no, I just think as a Blackburn fan, if it was me, I'd want my team to do well before my FPL team to do well. And if captaining Salah was gonna make my actual team do really, really poorly, my FPL team do well, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't be a fan of that.
Yeah,
You don't have any control over it.
seen-
You've got no control over it though. Like
I've seen
if
the
your team
comment-
wants to show up and do bad, then you're not going to be happy that Salah's done that. It's just what
No, but-
happens. I captained Mohamed Salah last season twice when he played Newcastle. We blanked in one of them, and I was absolutely over the moon with it. I was thrilled with it. They drew 0-0 at St James's Park. It was brilliant. It was better than getting FPL points, obviously, because your team goes before your FPL team. But I personally, Jack, I don't see anything wrong with captaining him this week. If you think he's going to do well, you can't control that.
He's already done it with Vardy. He's already gone against his team.
In my case, though, you say you can't control your football team, but your football team controls your mental health. In my case, and you can control that. So I'd rather make myself happy with a real team result than FPL team result. But back to my point, if Jack wants to captain Salah, go ahead. I don't see a problem. I would advocate for Jack captain Salah. But
Thanks,
if it was
Ollie.
me,
Thanks, Ollie.
You've got the permission, Jack. You've got the permission.
You don't need permission from me. You're you're Jackie Gillibrand. You don't need permission from me. But
That's right.
if you want it,
Captain Mbeumo anyway.
So in other words,
Nice.
triple captain Salah, triple captain him. One.
you're blank now after all this.
Well, if he blanks and Jack captains him, and Man United end up getting a result, it's brilliant,
Win-win.
Exactly. It really just depends. So we do have a question coming in from Max Watson. Jack, I know you're a big fan of the Mbeumo train. He says, should he get Mbeumo in for Sarr? He says his internet died before, but you did get back to him. What's your opinion on that one?
Yeah, for me, listen, his fixture's looking great. He's passed the eye test in terms of what he's doing on the pitch for 5.5. I don't think there's many assets who can compare to that who are going to deliver. I do feel like he's going to get goals. He's going to be in the mix. Sarr may have just gone a bit quiet for Watford under Ranieri's campaign now after a 5-0 smashing. I'm not too sure how that's going to carry on. Ranieri might be gone after next week, so we'll see. We'll see how he goes. But for me, Mbeumo for Sarr, and you save about $1 million as well. Or I think, isn't it? Is he 6.5 Sarr? 6.3?
6 point something, mate. I think he rose a couple of times after he played us. He rose, I think, and everything because so many people were getting him in. But
maybe saving 0.8, 0.9 in there. Good move, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, there is a lot of good games there. So I'll just ask you for a very quick one, Statman Dave. What's your fixture of the week other than that Manchester United Liverpool game?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a Super Sunday or Monday morning for us. All three of those games are pretty good, but I would say I think Brentford Leicester might be a bit of a goal fest. Obviously both teams are scoring a fair bit at the moment, so I don't think that'll be a boring match, that one there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and obviously that does wrap up the game week review and the game week 9 preview. So if we move on now, Bonus Bank have obviously given us the game week probabilities for clean sheets to help you out with your FPL team for game week 9. At number 3, Everton look the goods at the minute with a 45% chance of a clean sheet. So you should be considering the likes of Pickford, which I definitely don't advocate for myself, but Bonus Bank are the ones with the knowledge, not me. They say Pickford, Digne and Keane. In second, we got Man City with a 52% chance, and the only nailed on players surely you'd think would be Edison and Diaz at the minute. But at top place this week, it's Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea sitting at a massive 63% chance of a clean sheet. You cannot look past their assets with the likes of Mendy. He had an absolutely brilliant game against Brentford. As Pilaqueta, obviously Jack said he had him in his team before as well. Should definitely be on the watch list for a lot of people. But thank you to Bonus Bank for supplying the goods for this week. And make sure you check out the caption below for how to, obviously make the free profit from the bookie promotions. So if we move on now, we've got our transfers for the week and our captains as well ever so quickly. I think, captain's actually going to be quite a difficult one for this week, but we'll start with you, Statman Dave. Are you making any moves this week? You've come off a really good week this week. So what are you doing?
Probably this week. I think I'll probably end up staying with Salah. It's going to be hard for me to pull him off, in the next few weeks anyway, the way he's performing at the moment. And obviously he scored a bag for me as captain in the UCL last night. I think I might be considering following Ollie's move of Lukaku for Vardy, which I sort of mentioned to you guys last week that might be in the bag. So I've also got to keep an eye out on what's happening with Bamford. I've been holding on to him for a little bit because of his good fixtures in the hope that he was going to come back. But it's going to be hard for me to hold on to an underperforming Lukaku and Bamford. So probably any move is going to be involving those two.
Yeah, I think that's a really good shout there, Statman. Obviously, if Bamford's sitting on your bench and just rotting and Lukaku's not doing the goods, we'll obviously have a bigger discussion surrounding Romelu Lukaku in a little bit. But Ollie, what's your transfer or transfers for this week?
Transfers, mate. I'm taking my second hit of the season, and I'll be taking back-to-back hits. So I'm the new hitman, and then the human fence, and then the new hitman. So I'm making Reedy redundant. I'm gonna go from Lukaku to Lukaku, from Ronaldo, and put the armband on Lukaku, so he comes back into the team after the 1 week absence. So your thing in the intro about Lukaku blanking, not an issue because he's going to score a hat trick this week. And because the Guru's not on, I thought I'd treat you lot. Or he's on in a bit with the Guru section, but I thought I'd treat you to my own differential. Mark Gahey is coming to my team, 0.4% owned for Crystal Palace with a fixture against the second worst defence in the league against Newcastle, or third if you include Burnley. Great run of fixtures. He's nailed on 0.4% ownership, and I think he's going to do something for me. So I'm going to take a hit and go from there.
You sound very confident with that one, mate. What's made you think that?
Just having that championship knowledge about how good Mark Gahey is as a defender. Not missed a minute for Southampton. Not missed a minute for Palace this season. He's playing against Newcastle, who are absolutely woeful. They employ Javi Manquillo. That's all you need to know. Lukaku's going to hopefully bag some goals against Norwich, who probably are the worst defence in the league. And I'm, happy with those transfers. And then next week will happen. I'll probably take another hit, and then hopefully not take another hit for another while after that.
Well, he's turning into Reedy. Reedy, I think you're having an effect on him there. You're taking an 8-point hit, and Ollie's feeling a little bit left out, I think, with the transfer. So I will go to you now, Reedy. You're surely not taking another hit this week, are you?
No. I need to settle down now. I have done something which I've been doing a lot lately, making sort of decisions that maybe I shouldn't be. But I was so annoyed after last week what happened. And I thought, you know what? With the price rises, which are absolutely ridiculous, by the way, this season, price rises and price falls, mainly the price rises, though, of players happening on the daily, happened with the Chelsea situation for me. So I've brought Son back in just because he's not got cover for one, and I wanted to keep him anyway. So Mahrez has gone back out. See you later, mate. And Sonny's back in. So I've used me one free transfer for that. I'm hoping that he gets rested or doesn't play for the Europa Conference League or something for Spurs. And yeah, West Ham they've got. So that's my one move for this week. That is it. And captain. Well, I don't think we've gone on to that yet. If we saw, I'll hold on.
You just have to hold on just one more go. We'll go to Jack first around the circle, and then Reedy can have his talking time again, and he can share his captain. So Jack, you played your wild card this week. Are you going to roll over this week? Are you going to make me happy and say you're going to roll over?
Just for you, Elliot, I am rolling over, mate. I need to wait till I can get Sonny back in, because like I said, I'm a big fan of Son. So I'm going to roll over and hopefully bring him back in week after next, ready for Man United, and he can bag against us.
I think that's probably the smart move to make, mate. For me, I think it's going to be, I'm going to get Brandon Williams out. I think he's not even getting a look in at the minute in that Norwich side, and I'm scared that he's going to price fall to 3.9 million, possibly. If he keeps not getting in the starting lineup, he's such high ownership, for that low price. So I think it's going to be, I've got 1.8 in the bank, so I can go straight to Rudiger at this point. So I think that's probably going to be my transfer, and I think that's probably going to be one that benefits me quite well into the future. But we'll move on to captains. To Statman Dave, you can start. Who are you slapping the armband on this week?
Yeah, probably Salah. I'm not sure if there's anyone else who's probably going to get it from me this week.
Yeah, he's so in form. Even when he comes up against that defensive Man United, he's still one of the top picks for this week. Ollie, who are you going with?
Romelu Lukaku, back in the team, and he'll be back in the goals.
Cannot believe this, man. Cannot believe him. Reedy, who's it for you?
Ooh, for me, I'm going to have to go Salah. It's going to have to be Salah. What? Who else? Who else would you go for? I mean, I could go Vardy, but I think with the form Salah's in, be silly not to. I've not got Lukaku, so everyone's on the Lukaku train, and he's going to do this and do that to Norwich. Probably won't even play, to be honest with you. So I'll just plant that seed in your heads, you know, and Ollie, you know, taking that hit for nothing, basically. See how you feel. But yeah,
if Lukaku doesn't play, Mark Gay, he's going to score a hat trick, so it's fine.
Well, fair enough.
That sounds about right. I think a lot of people, including myself, will be going with Lukaku as long as he survives the Champions League. Make it sound like some sort of battle there. But if he does make it through the Champions League, untouched, fit as anything, then he's going to bully that Norwich defence this weekend. I'm sure of it. But Jack, who are you going with? We've already had the debate about Salah, so you definitely can't say Salah. Oh, you can say Salah because Ollie said that you can, but you know he's sort of had that underlying. You shouldn't captain him, Jack.
Oh, he's tempting, isn't he? I've got the armband on Lukaku at the moment. So Lukaku is captain currently. Salah is vice. So if Lukaku gets dropped, then it has to be Salah, doesn't it?
That's how it goes, you know. FPL it's a cruel game. If you don't captain Salah one week just because he's playing your team and he ends up scoring a hat trick, you're going to get left in the dust. So you've got to do what you've got to do. But they are our captains and our transfers for the week. If we move on now to a very, very special guest section, it's a man who's making his second appearance on the podcast this year. We welcome Josh, aka JC, as he joins us for our game from game week 8. Josh has entered our FPL draft league as well and the Champions League one for this season. And thank you for joining us, Josh. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, boys. How are we all?
Yeah, good, mate.
That's good.
Yeah, good, Joshua boy.
That's good.
Cheers, mate.
Obviously, we can see that you're wearing the Chelsea, so you're backing Romelu Lukaku this week as well, surely.
Yes. He's been a bit out of form recently, but I still back him. I just feel like from a Chelsea fan perspective, we haven't been playing around him or creating chances for him. A good example against Arsenal was the first game where we actually we played to his feet. He was bullying the defenders and holding the ball up, but in recent weeks, we just, we haven't been, finding him or giving him the service. But I think against Norwich, he'll score a couple goals.
I think you're absolutely spot on. And I think it's worth mentioning that Josh is sitting in the top 870k overall, and he's on 485 points as well. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey so far this season, Josh? Game week 1 to 8, how are you tracking this year compared to last year? And, what were your expectations for the season?
Yeah, the first 3 game weeks, I was actually doing pretty well. Like we all did, we either captained Bruno or Salah for the first game. And yeah, since probably game week 4, I haven't done too well. I used my wild card last week and that didn't go to plan. So I think I'm doing okay at the moment, but could be doing better.
Hello, Josh. Good to see you, mate. Back on the pod. Well, not back on the pod, but you were there for the draft at the beginning of the season. So it's good to see you, and good to hear that you're doing well in FPL still as well. Just got a couple of questions for you, basically, and the first one is you played your wild card this week, and you hit 42 points. Obviously, not the score you would have wanted, but what's your thoughts on that generally?
Yeah, I probably did make a bad decision. I brought in Grealish and actually had him as captain, and he didn't even play. So that wasn't my best decision in the world. But yeah, I should have captained Salah like everyone did. So I did get affected by that. I was happy with Kane, who he got a goal against Newcastle and an assist. Lukaku, he didn't score, but yeah, overall, I think I did all right. Just below the average, which is not good. I basically aim my performance of getting above the average like most of you do. So to get below it is not that good.
Yeah, it was unlucky, mate, to be honest with you. And there was, like you say, in terms of Lukaku blanking and his form's not been great and all the rest of it. So usually you'd expect him to hit and a couple of other assets. So the Kane one, though, well done on that one, bud. What would be your advice, basically, going forward in terms of managers who've still got the wild card and about them maybe unleashing it and what players / sort of strategy that they would maybe need to use?
Yeah, well, I think I used my wild card too early, to be honest. Like, usually the halfway mark of the season is a good a place to use it, but I just wanted to use it to get some Chelsea assets in because they had a good run of form. But my advice, like everyone has, you got to have Salah in, even though he's having hard games against United or City. You just always got to have him in. It's a tricky one with Chelsea and City players. In terms of City players, I think you should either not get any of the players at all, or get the reliable ones, which is De Bruyne, Diaz, or Edison. The rest, I don't trust Pep in. He rotates too much, and yeah, it's a bit of a worry.
Fair comment, mate.
Definitely agree with what you're saying there. A lot of people thought Diaz was the reliable one, and they were in for a shock, the past couple of weeks as well. But, can you name a couple of differentials or enablers, as they're so called in FPL, if they are that cheaper price for Game Week 9 for our viewers and listeners, Josh?
Yeah, so I picked out 3. I got Smith Rowe from Arsenal against Aston Villa. He hasn't got too many points. He did get 1 week where he got a couple points, I think, against Tottenham. But he's regularly starting as one of their attacking mids, so he might, bag a goal or an assist against Aston Villa. My second one is Conor Gallagher from Crystal Palace. They do have a good fixture against Newcastle, and he's had a couple of good weeks where he's scored a couple or got some assists. And Solomon Rondon, Everton versus Watford. He hasn't scored yet, and Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are still probably out. So yeah, I think that would be a good shout.
Yeah, I think, we've got another one. We've got a question from one of our live viewers, Josh. It's one from James Gasden, fellow member of the Draft League, and he says he's got a dilemma. Alonso out for either Trent or another Chelsea defender. He says he can afford both, and he signed it off on Facebook on a live comment with Gasden Guru. We can see your comment there, James. I know you're getting a little bit old now, but you don't need to sign off your comments like that. But, Josh, what do you think of that one?
I would actually back Reece James. He's come back from injury. I thought he was actually going to start against Brentford, but he didn't. But yeah, he's come back from injury, so I think Reece James is the most reliable, wing back against Chilwell and Alonso because they'll rotate a lot. So I'd say Rudiger or James, but Rudiger's injured at the moment, so probably chuck in James.
I think it's a very fair shout that you've gone with there. So we'll move on to the this or that game that we play now. Ollie is the host of this game, so I'll hand him over to you. And Ollie, just let me know when you're ready, mate, and I can click play on the timer.
So just quickly, all we're going to do, quickly go with a bit of a this or that. Very easy, just going to give you 2 options. You just got to pick one, as it says on the tin, really. So, Josh, you ready?
Yep.
Right, let's go. Romelu Lukaku or Jamie Vardy?
Lukaku.
Kane or CR7?
Kane.
Sanchez or Aaron Ramsdale?
Sanchez.
Chilwell or Marcos Alonso?
Chilwell.
Rafinha or Phil Foden?
Foden.
Azpilicueta or Ruben Diaz?
Ruben Diaz.
White or Ben Duffy? Shane Duffy even.
Ben White.
Tony or Hwang Hee-chan?
Tony.
Steve Bruce or Wayne Rooney?
Steve Bruce all the way.
Love it, mate.
Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for you today, Josh, now. But in all seriousness, Josh, you will be joining us for a little bit later for a little bit of discussion around Lukaku, his draft as well. So he's not going anywhere, anyone. But thank you for joining us on the guest section today, Josh. So if we move on now to the Guru section, and as we said, the Guru is celebrating his birthday, so as much as you can, make sure you go and send him all your best wishes for his birthday. Doesn't matter how late you are, the Guru will appreciate them all. And I guess I've just got to, say, take it away, Matt.
Good. Here's my Guru section for Game Week 9, and we're going to start with differentials under 10% owned. And the first one I'm going to go with is Decore for Everton at home to Watford. He's had 5 returns in 8 games this season. I think he's a great shout. He's returning. He's got his former club Watford returning that he's going to be playing against. So I think that's a great fixture for him. Everton at home, but they lost to West Ham, but they actually played well in that fixture. I think he's a really, really good option. And he's also an enabler with his price point. My next differential under 10%, I'm going to go with a couple of Chelsea players. The first one, Mason Mount, 8.7% owned, home to Norwich. I think this is a perfect game for him to come back in the side, potentially get a goal or get his assists up. I think it's going to be a really good fixture. It's also going to benefit someone like Lukaku as well this week. And then my next one, I'm going to go with Ben Chilwell. I do think this ownership is going to go up. So right now, 5.6% ownership. So he is a differential. He is under 10% owned. He's number 14 out of 209 defenders for threat this season so far, which is incredible because he's only started 2 games. So, I think he's earned his place back in the side. Still a differential for now. Whether or not by the end of deadline, he's still 5.6 ownership, we will see. But I think he needs to be in there. My next one, I'm going to go with Iheanacho from Leicester. He's away to Brentford. Look, Brentford have been good this season, but Leicester, started to pick up. They obviously beat Man United in the last game. They scored 4 goals. He's 2.5% owned. He's got 18 points in his last 3 games. He's back in the lineup. I think he's a brilliant asset. And obviously his price was 7.5 at the start of the season, and now it's dropped down. So definitely one to keep your eyes on. And then my last one is going to be Edouard, who scored against Arsenal yesterday. I think he's a great pick. 2.4% owned. He's good for Palace in the games he's played. And Elliot, as we always say, Newcastle, they've let the most goals in this season. And if anyone wants to get their scoring run up and going or get their goals, their goal tally up, Newcastle's the team. And I think he's a really, really good pick this week. So that's my differentials. We'll move on to my 3 teams to watch. And I'm going to go with Everton against Watford. Watford look like an absolute mess against Liverpool. I think Everton will win that one comfortably. Next one, I'm going to go with Chelsea against Norwich. Again, Norwich are winless. I can't look past Chelsea. Obviously, top of the league. I think they'll beat Norwich comfortably as well. And then my last one, I'm going to go with Southampton against Burnley. Saints have been keeping clean sheets this season. Obviously, got a clean sheet against Leeds. And they got the win against Leeds as well. I think it was their first win this season, but they've had a few good 0-0 draws. Outside of that, Burnley are pretty abysmal. So definitely think Southampton's going to be, the one that wraps up the 3 teams to watch. So Everton v Watford, Chelsea, Norwich, and Southampton, Burnley. And now we'll go on to my captains. I've got 3 listed this week. The first one, Lukaku v Norwich in the early game. I think stick with him. He's blanked for 4 weeks in a row, but we all bring him in for this fixture against Norwich. So stick with your guns. I think he's still a good captain option. Next one, Kevin De Bruyne against Brighton. Tough game, but De Bruyne's on 2 goals in the last 2. He's starting to pick up the points. He got 11 points against Burnley. He got 8 points against Liverpool. He scored at Anfield. I think this is a good fixture for him, and I think he, could be worth putting the captain's armband on. And then my last captain choice is going to be Salah against Man United again. This is still a tough fixture for Liverpool. It's a derby. They're always usually pretty tight affairs, but I still think if Liverpool are going to score, it's more than likely going to be Salah. So definitely look at putting the captain armband on him. If you're not too sure who to pick, then safe option is Salah. And then curveball this week. I'm going to pick one off the top of my head here, and I'm going to go with the man Edouard for Palace against Newcastle. Looked brilliant against Arsenal last night. And I think, again, like I mentioned before, it's a great fixture for him. So Edouard's my curveball captain for this week.
And there you have it. That is the Guru section. I think it is worth me just pointing out he hasn't been on the birthday celebrations too early, saying that you should get Decore in. That was a pre-record from last night, and obviously he did end up breaking a bone this morning. I think it was his foot or his toe or his leg or something like that. But obviously you don't want to be getting Decore in for this week. That is some misinformation from the Guru there that he said last night. He was looking like a good option. Then he got the news this morning. The first message into the WhatsApp group was, wow, okay, he's gone. And I think the Guru's had to make a couple of amendments there. But as I said, obviously it was a pre-record, so you don't want to be getting Decore in for this week. But we'll continue the Guru's work, and we'll move on to the draft section now of the podcast. We haven't done draft this season. We did it a lot last season. It was quite a potent part of the podcast, and Statman Dave was quite well known for getting points, but not getting the 3 points as you need to do in draft. But the league's shaping up quite nicely. We've obviously got Ollie at the bottom, which is very expected at this point, and we will touch on Ollie's team in a little bit. But Josh, have you enjoyed the draft sort of component to FPL so far this season?
Yeah, it's a good change up from the normal classic leagues that you do. You just use your brain in a different way, just getting players for those one-off games, then you can transfer them back out. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and obviously, Jack, we always say that, Champions League's a nice refresher from it, but draft's also, a different game to just the classic FPL, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obviously when we did the live draft at the start of the season, you've got to be, you've got 30 seconds to pick a play. You've got to try and pick your favourite assets, the best assets that are going to be there for the long haul, and it's a bit chaotic and a bit panicky at times. And it's give a good change up, and it's good that we've expanded the draft this year. It's been good to have Josh part of it as well, and a couple of the Gadsden boys. I've had a bit of a slow start, but I was playing for the Ronaldo asset, which I got, and I've got Ronaldo and Kane up top, and I'm just waiting them now to start firing.
I think that's a fair shout. That was definitely a strategy in the first week, to sabotage yourself to make sure that you got Lukaku. And, Jack took it that step further and made sure that he was going to get Ronaldo in whatever game week he joined, game week 3 or 4 now. So that's what he's done. But Josh, you are sitting in second in the league, just on goal difference behind Matt Cowland. So you've got to be happy with the start that you've had to the season.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly happy. I was looking today, and I think I have the 4th lowest points or goal difference, whatever it is. So yeah, I think I went 4 from 4 at the start, and I lost my last 2, but I came back with a win this week, as I had Firmino, who got me 20 points.
That's all that matters. And, Mendy in between the sticks as well, the resident Chelsea goalkeeper, what a game he had. So, your team's looking quite healthy at the minute. And obviously draft is such a different game because you don't get your captain or anything. So, 45 points in a draft week is definitely good. But, have you made many transfers this season, Josh, or have you sort of just, stuck with your team through thick and thin and, just kept with it?
Yeah, most of them I have. You probably got notice every week that I ask if anyone wants Pogba. I'm trying to get him out because he's a bit of a fraud at the moment. He got 4 assists in the first game week and hasn't done anything since. So I am trying to still get him out. But I got Firmino, I think 2 weeks ago. That was a good steal from one of the waivers. Havertz, he hasn't done too much. And the Chelsea defender Chalobah, I've probably put him in about 3 times this year, because I think when he plays the easier games at home for Chelsea, he's playing and he's going to keep a clean sheet. So I transfer him in and out as a little strategy.
I think that's smart. He seems to be doing the business for you lot at the minute, getting the goals, getting the clean sheets when he plays, as you say. So that's definitely smart. But, if you're looking to offload Pogba, a little birdie tells me that there's a certain, Matt Gadsden in the league that, might be, a little bit vulnerable to these sorts of things. So if you're showing Pogba's stats for the season, he'll be more than happy to take Pogba off your hands, I think. But Matt, if you are listening, that's nothing against you at all. But the league, as we say, is shaping up. That's obviously the standings. Matt Cowling sits there in first, Josh in second, and then the Guru sits there in third. The champion of 2021 sits there in third at the minute. But the fixtures for this week, there's some brilliant games. We've got the whatever you want to call it, the derby between me and Ollie. It's a big game. It's a massive relegation 6-pointer that Ollie needs to get his head in gear. This is about the time of the season. Last season, when he was declaring that he'd won the league, this season he's just going to be saying, I'm not checking it at all. It's absolutely rubbish. So Ollie, how long's it been since you checked your draft team? You're muted, mate.
Years since I've last checked it, to be honest. And this is the week it all changes. We've got the El Clasico, I think we're going to call it now. Between me and Elliot, this is the week for me that I've got to get the win. I've had an absolutely dreadful start, but it changes, and it's an easy 3 points for me this week. I'm going to go out and say it. Easy 3 points. Move myself off the bottom of the league. Jack needs to go to the bottom of the league. We need to just temper his expectations a little bit. So I've got a better goal difference than Jack does, so if I can get the win, that would be nice. Please, for the love of all that's holy, don't bring my team up onto the screen, because I don't really want to see it myself. But easy 3 points this week, and we move forward.
I don't even know if you know which players you've got in your team, but Statman, you play the Guru, the resident champion. So how confident are you going into this fixture?
Not very, fair to say. Look, it's been a bit of a frustrating season for me for draft. I've actually got the same number of points as Josh, and he's in second and I'm in seventh. So that's how draft works. Sometimes you just get unlucky, and the last 2 weeks I've played the top scorer. So, you can't really help the fixtures and who you're playing. You've just got to do the best you can with the players you have. And, I've got Decore in my team, so unfortunately I'm going to have to try and cover him this week. And luckily, hopefully Rudiger plays to come in to cover him. But Cancelo and Decore have been probably my two best performers over the last few weeks. So it's a bit frustrating that I'm going to have to replace one of them.
Yeah, Cancelo's been doing absolutely brilliantly for Man City so far this season. But, Ollie, you called it the El Clasico between me and you. But I think the real El Clasico this week is between Josh and Matt Cowlin. Top of the table clash. Your one's just sort of a relegation 6-pointer, as I said. But, this is the real business, further up the league when you're competing for the silverware, when you're competing for the trophy of the draft league. So, Josh, big fixture for you this week. Do you think you've got what it takes?
Yeah, I think I do. I haven't actually looked at his team yet, so I'll look at it probably after this and see who he has and see if I need to make any transfers, or I'll message you lads and see if you want to do 1-for-1s.
I'll take Pogba off you, mate. I need anyone I can get.
Who are you going to give me?
I don't even. I'll have a look again afterwards. We'll have to start a bit of a transfer table, FIFA 22 type discussion rooms, and we'll sort something out. We'll thrash out a deal.
Yeah. It will have to be a premium asset, because you know what, Pogba's a premium asset, but he hasn't been performing.
I'll have to see what I've got, mate. I can probably offer you a packet of crisps and a £5, and that should probably get it done, because that's about all I've got in terms of draft. But hey, I'll have to see.
Yeah, and then obviously, there's the other massive fixture of the week. It's the there's a lot of brilliant fixtures this week. We've picked a really good week to have you on, Josh, because there's a lot of brilliant fixtures. I was going to start talking about the Gadsden fixture, but I've just realised that Jack and Reedy play each other this week as well. So, Reedy, I'll go to you first. Are you confident this week?
Battle of the Edge, massive, innit? You know what? It's a great game. In terms of timing, great fixtures, and I'm looking forward to this one with Jack. I mean, for it to fall on the weekend that United play Liverpool as well, it just couldn't have been timed any better, to be honest with you. So yeah, gotta get my thinking cap on for this, lad, because I know we'll want this win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack, what's your response to that?
Oh, listen, Ronaldo is in my 11, and he's going to take you down, son. Come on, Cristiano, son. No, listen, I'm excited. Big weekend. Reedy texted me at the start of the week. He was like, United, Liverpool, Reedy versus Gillibrand. Unbelievable. It was. He's already called it, and he was ready for it. He'd been doing his stretches at the start of the week, thinking he was playing me.
Most exercise he's done in years, isn't it? Stretching.
So we do a little bit of competition, a little bit of banter. But yeah, this round of games for game week 9 in the draft is actually really exciting. That's why I wanted to bring it on this week and bring Josh on as well. Obviously, Josh and Matt are newbies into the draft this league, so perfect. The Gazdens head to head. The brothers Phil and Gary, they're playing against each other. Ollie and Elliot, Ant and Deck. It's all going on. So yeah, really excited for it, and I can't wait. Kane, Ronaldo, can they step up? Can they do the business against Reedy and take him down? I could do with pushing higher up the ladder. So, yeah, fingers crossed I can get a result. Reedy, have you actually got any Liverpool players in your team? Have you got Marnie, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So, I've got Mane. But you know what?
Bruno, I can't wait.
I've got Bruno. So, listen up, boys. This is a little shout out now to say,
trading.
If anyone's interested, especially probably you, Jack, more than anyone wants to do a little swappy swap, give me a shout. Throw me a little deal, and we'll see if we can, iron that out. Little wheel deal, Harry Redknapp style.
I've got a player for you, mate. I've got a player for you.
I'm sure you have, mate. Igor Bishkan doesn't play anymore, mate. Sorry, but
would you like Salah from Watford?
Probably not. Probably not, mate. But
I'll give you a £5 and you give me a £10. Oh, well.
But yeah, I'm looking at getting Bruno. I'm looking at getting Bruno out, and not many people say that. I probably should keep him because it's one game, but I do want someone in there that's gonna in another fixture ideally. So we'll see. We'll see on that one, boys.
It sounds like I made you the deal of the century when I gave you Bruno and got Cancelo in return.
You did, mate. 100%. Only though, I can't even speak because I'm not sort of ecstatic about beating.
Drooling, mate.
I've just beat Statman just then in the game we just gone. So yeah, you can say that, but at the same time, So yeah, fair play though, Statman.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll have to find a way to update you with how all these brilliant fixtures go. So I'm sure next week on the podcast we can review these results from the game week 9 ever so quickly. But that does wrap up the draft section. If we move on now to the final section of today's show, we've got a little bit of discussion-based stuff that we want to talk about. There's a lot of hot topics in FPL at the minute, and one of the main ones is Romelu Lukaku. So, Josh, we'll go to you first. You've said he's the man before. A lot of people are growing impatient with him. He hasn't returned in a couple of weeks now. So many people brought him in. Would you say people have got to be staying with him, or, is it time to move on from Lukaku?
I think we've got to be patient with him. Chelsea brought him in for a reason. That's to score goals because Werner wasn't doing the job. So I think he's the main man there. He will start scoring. Could even be tomorrow morning against Malmo in the Champions League. So if he scores then, he could get confident and score in the Premier League. But I do think we should, or anyone that owns him should keep him because he will score goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ollie, you took him out last week. So, what's the deal with Lukaku? Is he on your mind or anything? Or, are you a fan of him at the minute? Are you not? Are you just worried about, the peer pressure of everyone else having him? What's the deal with it?
Nice to see that you've been listening to this pod, Elliot.
I know you've transferred him in. I was just asking.
I said I was going to captain him and all, mate. So...
Is that peer pressure, though, is what I mean, mate? Is that just because everyone else has got him, or do you actually back him?
It's because I'm a competent FPL manager. And he's also playing Norwich. So, mate, I've got my own FPL mind. You can call it peer pressure, you can call it all you want, but you lot aren't living free in my own head. The only time you lot are living rent free is when I get an asset right, and you lot all have a go at me, so I can just bring it back on you. But no, Lukaku for me will haul 10 points plus against Norwich. Clip this up, put this on a short next week. 10 points plus, and I'm going to get another massive green arrow. And I hope for Josh's sake that I'm right, because then Chelsea probably had a big win.
Well, unfortunately, you heard it there first. Lukaku with the red card on the weekend, no returns, no goals from him. So that's going to be a disappointing one. But we can all hope that he does get that 10-point haul that Ollie is talking about. Jack, you played your wild card and everything. Lukaku is such a hot topic in FPL at the minute, as I said before. So many people have got him. So many people are expecting him to do well. Do you think he can deliver this week?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm with Ollie. Like, even though he's messed up Lukaku around in his team, he's in there for the big haul for me.
Come on.
And he's the only one, though. If he doesn't do it this week, he's out. And that's me and him done, right? So it's Lukaku's, it's the big game for him. It's quite easy for Ollie just to jump on Lukaku against Norwich as well. So it's not as if he's a competent FPL manager.
Coward.
You know what I mean? It's an easy one to call, and it go, Norwich or Lukaku, of course. But he's right in saying it is the week. I'm hoping he can smash it. I'm going to put the armband on him. I'm actually convincing myself I am going to keep him there. And hopefully he holds it now. If he doesn't, he's out. And that's the end of Lukaku. And Vardy will be my man up top, and I'll probably go a bit bigger in midfield.
I would like to revise my rent-free comment, because Jack, you're now rent-free.
It's just how it goes, Ollie. It's just how it goes. But as we said, your transfer this week to get Vardy in worked out well for you. So fingers crossed the Lukaku pick works out for every single FPL manager that's got him this week. But, we can all hope for that 10-plus point haul. But the second topic that we do want to talk about is Pep Roulette. Ruben Diaz was a victim of it this week. And he's someone that I'm sure a lot of people thought would never, ever be a victim of Pep Roulette. So Statman Dave, what do people need to do about it? Can we trust these Man City assets, or can we just, steer clear as a whole?
Look, as a general rule this year, I've certainly steered clear to them, with the exception of Cancelo, who I bought in recently. I think he's just scoring, for fun at the moment. And, I think Pep can obviously see that. So he's probably the only one I think that I'm sort of trusting. I'm not really looking at anyone else right now because it's just too much of a risk, I suppose. And yeah.
I think you're spot on, Statman Dave, as you said there. Jack, you obviously, as we said before, you have played your wild card. Man City assets don't play as big a part as a lot of people would expect for it in a lot of people's wild card teams these days, just because you can't be too certain with it. You just never know what Pep's going to do. If he wakes up one morning and thinks, I'm going to bench Grealish, I'm going to bench Diaz, then what sort of hope is there for FPL?
Yeah, he absolutely ruins lives, doesn't he? My weekend with the Son moving out, and I thought Grealish, he's played so much football, Grealish. Probably should have known better, but brought him in, similar to Josh. I'm sure he'll have a whinge in a minute with his captain shout. But I brought him in thinking he was guaranteed and nailed. I felt that he could probably play Champions League as well and play that game at the weekend, but it wasn't meant to be. So yeah, I've and Diaz was a big one. I really didn't see that one coming, as you said. So yeah, it shocks me, that one. I had Cancelo in there. Now I thought, I'll go with Diaz. He's probably more guaranteed. And yeah, he's Pep absolutely nailed me. So yeah, it's you can't judge it. You've just got to do your best. And I think only maybe Edison's the only nailed player asset in that team at the moment. And yeah, so good luck to all owners out there. But what did you think, Josh?
Yeah, well, I had Mahrez for the first 3 game weeks because I thought he had a good pre-season, but he didn't start and he wasn't playing. And then same with Grealish. I got him in as captain and he's on the bench and didn't even get any minutes. So yeah, it's a hard one with Man City. You can't really back them, but you have to have them because they're one of the best teams in the league. So yeah, it's a hard one.
It really, really is a difficult decision that a lot of people find themselves in. There's never going to be a definite answer for Pep Roulette. You know, he likes to play this game. As I said, he wakes up one morning, decides someone's going to be benched, and you just got to get on and deal with it. So if you are going to be playing Pep Roulette, you have been warned, as has been on show on the podcast today. But that does wrap up the show for today. Josh, I thank you very much for coming on today, filling the guru shoes with the guest section, the discussion, and the draft. So thank you very much for popping on today. And just a reminder that if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe down below and turn the notification bell on as well. May all your FPL dreams come true for Game Week 9. Take care, stay safe. Bye for now.